Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into Genesis chapter 43. This is such a crucial point in that huge family story of Jacob and his sons. The setting is Canaan, and things are, well, they're dire.
Dyer's putting it mildly. The famine isn't just a background detail anymore, it's extreme. The sources really emphasize this. Words like very severe, extremely distressing are used. That grain they risked everything for on the first trip down to Egypt.
Gone, completely used up.
Exactly. Survival mode is kicked in, and it's pushing Jacob, who the text sometimes calls Israel, especially in these really emotional moments, pushing him to face something he just doesn't want to face.
He finally has to say it, go again, buy us a little food. But that trip hinges on something Jacob finds almost unbearable, that non-negotiable demand from the Egyptian governor.
Right, the governor who is, of course, their brother Joseph, though they still have no idea. And that's our mission for this deep dive today, Genesis 43. We want to go beyond just retelling the story.
Yeah, peel back the layers.
Exactly. We're unpacking the testing, the hidden emotions, the spiritual dynamics going on. They have to bring Benjamin, the youngest, the favorite. And in doing so, they're walking right into Joseph's plan, a plan for both, well, judgment and reconciliation.
And running through this whole chapter like a thread is this tension, right? Between overwhelming human fear, Jacob's dread, the brothers' paranoia, and this sort of silent, guiding divine force.
Providence. That unseen hand moving all the pieces. It's setting the stage, really, to save the covenant family, even when everything looks like it's falling apart.
Okay, let's dig into that opening tension first. Because the famine, the sheer lack of food, is what forces their hand. But Jacob, he's stuck.
He's stalled, yeah. That fear, it's rooted deep in past trauma. He eventually tells him to go. But then Judah, and this is kind of surprising, Judah steps up. He stops his father, lays out the reality. No wiggle room.
Judah becomes the voice of reason here, almost.
He really does. He's much more pragmatic than, say, Reuben, the oldest. He becomes the spokesman, the one pushing things forward. And he's not, like, begging. He's firm. He reminds Jacob, the man solemnly and sternly warned us, you shall not see my face again unless your brother is with you.
Basically, Dad, we go with Benjamin or we stay here and starve.
That's pretty much it. It's black and white for Judah. And he even pushes back against Jacob's delay, doesn't he?
Yeah, he says something like, look, if you hadn't dragged your feet, we could have been there and back twice already. That's quite a thing to say to your father, especially Jacob.
It is. And it highlights that Jacob isn't just worried about food. He's crippled by losing Joseph years ago. He sees Benjamin, and all he can think is disaster again, and he lashes out.
With real anguish, too. Why did you treat me so cruel, and why did you even tell him you had another brother?
And you see that fear, as the sources point out, it's not just simple worry, it's grief. It's the potential for future loss piled onto the past loss of Joseph, Rachel's first son. He's basically blaming them for potentially causing another tragedy, maybe deflecting a bit too.
But is that fair? I mean, accusing them of cruelty now, yes, they were cruel when they sold Joseph, but right now they're trying to save everyone.
That's a really sharp point. Their past actions hang heavy, but here they claim they were just answering direct questions. He asked us pointedly about our family.
How could we know he'd say, bring your brother down?
Exactly. They felt they had to be honest about their family setup. This Egyptian official was persistent. But for Jacob, any mention of Benjamin, Rachel's only other son, felt like a betrayal, a threat. Fear was just overriding everything.
So we have this deadlock, Jacob's fear versus the family starvation. What breaks it? It seems to come down to Judah.
It really does. This is Judah's moment, a huge shift in his character. He takes charge in a way we haven't seen before.
From the guy who suggested selling Joseph?
Precisely. He goes from being the pragmatic, but frankly mercenary conspirator, let's make some silver off this, to being a self-sacrificing leader. He makes this incredibly serious promise right there in front of everyone.
Tell us about that pledge. Send the lad with me. I personally guarantee his safety.
And then the kicker, if I don't bring him back to you, then let me bear the blame forever.
Bear the blame forever.
Yeah.
That sounds heavy. What does that actually mean in their context? Is it just saying it's my fault?
Oh, it's much heavier than that. Historical analysis calls this kind of oath self-imprecation. It's not just a promise, it's almost a covenant. He's saying, may the consequences, may divine judgment fall on me, on my lineage if I fail.
Wow. So he's putting his own future, his very soul on the line for Benjamin.
For the innocent one.
Yeah.
That's the critical part. It's a complete reversal from being willing to sacrifice Joseph for 20 pieces of silver. This is a massive commitment.
And that contrast is key. Willing to take the hit for the innocent, not facilitate the betrayal.
And theologically, this is massive. Many sources, especially rabbinic ones, see this as Judah's teshuvah, his genuine repentance. It's not just being sorry he got caught or for the consequences, it's a willingness to take the blame for someone else, even if it costs him everything.
A real change of heart, demonstrated through action.
Absolutely. And this willingness to substitute himself. It's why traditions see this as foreshadowing the Messiah, who comes from Judah's line, the ultimate substitutionary sacrifice. You almost feel the spiritual gears shifting, God shaping the family's character through this crisis.
So Judah makes this incredible offer. He forces Jacob to face reality. What's Jacob's final response? It must have been agonizing.
It is. It's this mix of, pragmatic acceptance and just desperate faith. He finally gives in. If it must be so, then do this. He shifts from just lamenting to actually planning, telling them what to do.
Giving instructions? Taking some control back, maybe?
A little, yes. But then, crucially, he turns to God.
Right when he feels he has the least control.
Exactly. He prays to God Almighty, El Shaddai. That name is often linked to God's power and provision when humans are totally helpless. He asks for mercy from this powerful Egyptian.
And then that final line.
Yeah, that just gut-wrenching surrender. If I'm bereaved, I am bereaved. Or, as some translate, if I must bear the anguish of their death, then so be it. It's not optimism. It's giving up control, accepting that even loss might be part of God's unseen plan. Faith born out of sheer desperation.
Okay, so Jacob consents. And immediately he's thinking diplomacy, trying to smooth the way with this powerful official. It's not just about the money this time. He tells him to bring gifts.
Yes, specific gifts. And this tells us a lot about the culture, about ancient Near Eastern customs.
But were they balm, honey, spices?
Spices, myrrh, pistachio nuts, almonds, the best products of the land, he calls them. These aren't everyday items. They're luxury goods, things Canaan was known for in trade.
So like a tribute, a goodwill offering.
Exactly. You didn't approach someone powerful back then empty-handed. It was seen as an insult. These gifts are Jacob showing respect, acknowledging his lower status, and frankly, trying to buy some favor. It really highlights how vulnerable they are, these semi-nomadic people needing help from the Egyptian superpower.
He's putting his best foot forward, hoping for mercy, but he's still clearly anxious, especially about the money situation.
Oh, definitely. He insists they take double the money. Plus, they have to return the silver they mysteriously found in their sacks after the first trip.
Why double? And why is he so hung up on that returned silver?
He seems to think the returned silver was just a mistake, an oversight. So being the patriarch, he wants to make it right and pay for the first load and the new load. It's about integrity for Jacob.
But for the brothers, that silver isn't about integrity, is it? It's a source of major dread.
Absolutely. It's a huge anxiety trigger, because when they get back to Egypt, they don't go to the usual grain distribution place. They're taken straight to Joseph's house, his private residence.
Which would be imposing, right? Palatial, probably.
Definitely. And the text says they were immediately badly frightened, anxious. They jumped to the worst conclusion.
Why the instant panic?
Guilt. Simple as that. They're still carrying the weight of what they did to Joseph. Their conscience makes them paranoid. So being brought to his private home, they think, this is it. It's about the money.
He's going to accuse us of stealing.
Right. He'll pretend we stole it.
Right.
He sees us as slaves. Take our donkeys. They see this unexpected event, the return money, not as luck or a mistake, but as a trap, a setup. Their past sin makes them suspicious of anything that looks like grace.
That's a really powerful psychological point. Guilt-twisting perception. So they rush to explain themselves to Joseph's household manager, right? Trying to get ahead of the accusation.
They do. They corner the steward, probably babbling, trying to explain about finding the money. But his response, it completely changes the mood.
What does he say?
It's amazing. He calms them right down. Shalom aleichem, peace be to you. Al tirao, fear not. And then he gives this incredible theological spin on it.
He doesn't just say, it's okay.
No, he says, your God, the God of your father, must have put treasure in your sacks for you. I received your money. He basically tells them it was a divine bonus.
Whoa! An Egyptian steward crediting the Hebrew God. How do people interpret that? Is he a believer? Or just being polite?
Well, the commentaries lean towards Joseph's influence. Joseph, even though he lived as an Egyptian, seems to have maintained reverence for his God within his own household staff.
So the steward is reflecting Joseph's perspective.
Likely. Or at least he's aware of Joseph's faith. Seeing their terror in this weird money situation, he attributes the inexplicable, what they saw as a curse, to divine favor, a hidden treasure from their God. It's like Joseph letting a bit of truth slip out through someone else.
A subtle message of reassurance. Providence is working for you, not against you.
Exactly. It's addressing their deepest fear, their guilt, indirectly. And then this grace is immediately followed by practical hospitality, actions speaking louder than words almost.
What happens next?
The steward brings Simeon out the hostage from the first trip is released. Then they're given water to wash their feet. That's a big deal in that culture, a sign of honor and welcome for weary travelers.
And their donkeys get fed too.
Right. Taking care of their animals shows real hospitality. All of this, the reassuring words, releasing Simeon, the washing of feet, feeding the donkeys, it calms them down. It prepares them psychologically to actually meet the governor without being completely terrified.
So the scene is finally set. Joseph arrives around noon. The brothers bring in the gifts from Jacob. And that moment of bowing.
Yes, they bowed low before him, faces to the ground. It's more than just politeness to his superior. This is it. This is the literal fulfillment of Joseph's teenage dreams. The sheaves bowing, the stars bowing. It's happening.
The dreams that made them hate him in the first place. The irony.
It's thick, isn't it? Joseph, keeping his composure, first asks about their father. The official inquiry. Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?
Checking on Jacob. But then he turns to Benjamin, the whole reason they're back.
The catalyst. His only full brother. Is this your youngest brother, of whom you told me? And then he adds, God be gracious to you, my son.
And that's the moment Joseph almost breaks.
Completely. The text uses really visceral language. When he saw Benjamin, his mother Rachel's other child, it says his bowels did yearn upon his brother.
Okay, bowels did yearn. That sounds archaic, but what does it really convey emotionally?
It's incredibly strong in Hebrew. The bowels, or miyom, were seen as the absolute core of deep emotions. Grief, compassion, love. It means he was physically struck deep inside by this wave of affection, grief for their lost years, just overwhelming love.
He was about to lose it, publicly.
Yes. The text says he was overcome and sought where to weep. He had to get out of there fast.
Which highlights the incredible pressure he's under, right? He's playing this role, the powerful Egyptian vizier running a test.
Well, inside, he's just a brother seeing his long-lost, beloved younger sibling. He's got this divine mission, this test he needs to see through for reconciliation, but his own heart is breaking.
So he has to retreat.
Makes haste, the text says. Runs to his private room to weep. He can't let them see. Not yet.
That act itself, weeping privately, then composing himself, it says a lot about his self-control, especially after trauma.
It really does. He manages his emotions to protect the bigger plan. If he breaks down now, the test is over. Maybe reconciliation happens too quickly without the brothers truly proving they've changed. So he washes his face, hides the tears, comes back out, refraining himself, keeping it together, and orders the meal served.
The test must go on, even though it's tearing him up inside.
Precisely. Now, on to the feast itself, which is just layered with strategy and cultural meaning.
Let's start with the seating. It's segregated. Joseph eats alone, the brothers eat together, and the Egyptians eat separately. Why?
Huge cultural point here. The text explicitly says Egyptians considered it an abomination to eat with Hebrews.
An abomination? That's strong. Why?
It seems to be a mix of things. Religious purity rules, certainly. Egyptians had complex beliefs about clean and unclean, and certain animals sacred to them were central to the Hebrew shepherd lifestyle: sheep, goats.
So shepherds were looked down upon?
Often, yes, by the settled agricultural Egyptians. Their professions were different, their customs were different. Eating together would have been seen as potentially polluting for the Egyptians. So this segregation immediately reinforces the brothers' status as outsiders, even as honored guests.
But then Joseph throws a curveball with the seating arrangement for the brothers themselves.
He does. He seats them in the order of their ages, from the firstborn to the youngest. Meticulously correct.
How do they react?
They are stunned. The text says they looked at one another in amazement, wide-eyed, astonished. How could this Egyptian possibly know their exact birth order?
Yeah, that would be unnerving. What would they have thought? Magic. Spies.
Could be either, or both. Maybe they thought he had some kind of divination power, or maybe just an incredibly efficient intelligence network. But the effect is what matters.
It ramps up the fear, makes him seem even more powerful and mysterious.
Exactly. It makes them feel exposed, known. It subtly reinforces that theme of unseen knowledge, maybe even divine awareness, surrounding this whole encounter. It adds to the pressure.
And Joseph's not done testing them. The final move at the meal involves Benjamin's portion.
Right. He sends portions from his own table, a sign of great honor in itself. But Benjamin gets a portion 5 times as much as anyone else.
5 times? That's not subtle favoritism.
Not at all. And it's completely deliberate. This is the core of the test. Joseph is intentionally recreating the very dynamic that poisoned the family decades earlier. Blatant public favoritism towards Rachel's son.
So it's not just about being nice to his brother, it's a strategic test.
Absolutely. He needs to see how the others react. Will that old jealousy flare up? Will they resent Benjamin? Will they murmur against him? Or worse, he's testing their character, not just their words. Have they changed enough to accept, maybe even celebrate, favor shown to Rachel's other son?
It's like a behavioral experiment live. What was the result? Did they pass this part of the test?
It seems they did, at least for the moment. The chapter ends by saying they drank and were merry with him. There's no hint of resentment or jealousy mentioned.
So they accepted Benjamin's special treatment.
They appear to. They ate, they drank, they shared in meals fellowship without incident. This conviviality suggests they passed this crucial stage. It shows growth, a capacity for reconciliation, and it sets up the even more dramatic events of the next chapter.
Okay, let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. This chapter, Genesis 43, is just packed with meaning, isn't it? Let's talk typology first. How does Joseph's story here point forward?
It's one of the classic examples in the Old Testament. Joseph, the beloved son, betrayed, sold, seemingly lost. Now he's exalted to power in Egypt. And what's his role? He's the provider of bread, life-saving bread during a worldwide famine.
Saving the lives of the very people who wronged him.
Exactly, offering grace, sustenance, salvation. It's a clear foreshadowing of Christ, the bread of life, who offers spiritual salvation, especially to those who were once his enemies.
And Joseph's hidden identity plays into that too. He's giving them grace before they even know who he really is.
Yes, he's testing their hearts, extending favor, all while hidden behind the mask of this powerful Egyptian. It mirrors how Christ's full identity and mission were veiled for a time, revealed fully only after the necessary work was done. Joseph's testing is about bringing them to repentance for genuine restoration, much like Christ's work convicts and reconciles.
And Judah's role, we talked about his pledge earlier, that carries typological weight too.
Immense weight. That pledge, let me bear the blame forever, offering himself for Benjamin, is a powerful picture of substitutionary sacrifice. He stands as surety for the innocent.
Pointing towards Christ taking the blame for humanity.
Precisely. And it's no accident that the messianic line, the kingly line, comes through Judah. His transformation here from selfishness to self-sacrifice is foundational.
And overarching all of this is that theme we started with, God's hidden hand. Sovereignty.
It's everywhere. None of this is random. The famine, Jacob's fear, the brother's journey, the return money, the demanding vizier, the narrative insists God is orchestrating all of it.
Turning bad intentions or just chaotic events towards his ultimate purpose.
Right. What they intended for evil, selling Joseph, God used for good, to preserve the family, the covenant line. It's divine choreography, even when the dancers have no idea they're part of a larger pattern. God's purpose overrides human sin and fear.
If we bring these ancient themes forward, how do they speak to us now? Thinking about family dynamics, justice.
Well, Joseph's approach is fascinating when you think about justice. It's not just about punishment, is it? He has the power to crush them.
But he doesn't. He sets up these tests.
Exactly. It's more like restorative justice. He forces them to confront their past actions through present tests, like the Benjamin portion test. He needs to see demonstrated change, responsibility, like Judah showed. It suggests that real healing, real reconciliation requires more than just saying sorry. It requires proving you've changed.
Creating a path back rather than just retribution.
Yes. And psychologically, the story is timeless. That crippling fear Jacob feels, the brother's paranoia fueled by guilt. We see those things today, don't we? Unresolved issues casting long shadows.
And Joseph's own struggle, having to manage his emotions.
That's so relevant. His need to weep privately, then compose himself, it's a powerful picture of dealing with trauma while still needing to function, to lead. The story encourages us to face our past, but also to trust that there might be a bigger purpose at play, even when things feel terrifying or out of control.
That's a great synthesis. So let's end with that core tension embodied in that feast. They ate, they drank, they were merry.
Right in the middle of a famine, filled with fear, totally unaware of who their host really was. They were receiving grace, provision, even joy, while still blinded by their own guilt and anxiety.
So the question for you listening now, what feels like a famine in your life? Where is there scarcity or division or fear? Are you maybe letting that fear stop you from seeing the feast that might already be prepared?
Genesis 3 is this incredible reminder that even in our most fearful moments, when we feel most vulnerable, The unseen provider might be working behind the scenes, orchestrating grace, setting a table, waiting for us to take that difficult, necessary step of trust and surrender.